Today we're going to show you a few key details about the new 3M H700 hard hat product line. Today we'll cover inserting the suspension, suspension sizing, adjusting suspension height, replacing the brow pad, and using the 3M H700 hard hat with other 3M PPE products. So let's get started. As with any safety product, a risk hazard assessment should be carried out and use limitations considered to determine the protection required. Now would be a good time to review the warnings, instructions, and use limitations listed on the packaging. The process for inserting the suspension is the same for both the ratchet and pin lock versions. For our example, we will use the ratchet version. Remove the hard hat and suspension from the packaging. Review the information on the packaging. Then turn the hard hat upside down as shown. Place the suspension inside the hard hat shell with the brow pad facing towards the front brim of the hard hat. Make sure you can read the 3M logo on the hard hat suspension straps. Insert one suspension key into the respective key slot. Push the suspension key down into the key slot until it rests below the top of the opening of the key slot. Now repeat this step for the other three suspension keys. Now we'll adjust the hard hat to proper fit. Let's focus on the ratchet version first. Turn the ratchet knob counterclockwise until the headband opens to the largest size. Place the hard hat on your head, and now turn the ratchet knob clockwise until the headband is snug and secure. Do not over-tighten the suspension. Let's switch over to the pin lock version. Slide the adjustment band through both sizing buckles to increase or decrease the size. Insert all 6 sizing posts into the nearest sizing holes. Place the hard hat on your head and check the overall fit. The hard hat should be snug and secure. If it's not, adjust the sizing. To adjust the vertical height, turn the hard hat upside down and remove the suspension from the hard hat by gently pulling up each suspension key from the respective slot. The 2 suspension keys located nearest the suspension adjustment mechanism are used to adjust the vertical height. Hold the suspension in your left hand by grasping the suspension adjustment mechanism, which in this case is the ratchet knob. Make sure the suspension keys are on top. Starting with the suspension key closest to you, turn the suspension key counterclockwise until you can remove the suspension key from the headband. Reinsert the removed suspension key into one of the 3 vertical adjustment holes. Turn the suspension key clockwise until it is back in the original position. Now we'll adjust the other suspension key. Hold the suspension in your right hand by grasping the suspension adjustment mechanism, which again is the ratchet knob. Make sure the suspension keys are on top. Using the suspension key closest to you, turn it clockwise until you can remove the suspension key from the headband. Reinsert the removed suspension key into one of the 3 vertical adjustment holes. Turn the suspension key counterclockwise until it is back in the original position. Before going any further, make sure that both of the adjusted suspension keys are inserted in the same height level adjustment hole on each side of the suspension. Now, reinsert the suspension into the hard hat. To replace the brow pad, turn the hard hat upside down and remove the suspension from the hard hat by gently pulling up each suspension key from the respective slot. The brow pad is held onto the suspension headband by 6 posts. Hold the suspension in one hand and with the other, start removing the brow pad from the suspension by gently pulling up and away from the headband. Start at either end of the brow pad and work toward the other end, removing the brow pad from each post. Now let's attach a new brow pad. Before starting this process, look at the brow pad. It has 6 pre-cut holes designed to fit over the headband posts, 4 on the bottom and 1 each on the brow pad tabs. To attach the replacement brow pad, place the brow pad on the inside of the suspension headband with the foam backing against the headband as shown. Line up the 4 pre-cut holes with the 4 posts on the headband. Starting at one end, reattach the brow pad by placing one of the pre-cut holes over each of the headband posts. Complete the process by reattaching the 2 brow pad tabs over their respective posts. Make sure each pre-cut hole is securely attached to each post. Once this is done, reinsert the suspension back into the hard hat. Like many hard hats, the H700 can accommodate the use of a variety of other PPE products like cap-mounted earmuffs, headgear, and face shields. This can be accomplished by using the hard hat accessory slots or other mounting options. We'll go through a couple of the assembly options here. Let's start with cap-mounted earmuffs. 3M offers a variety of products in this portfolio. Cap-mounted earmuffs attach to the hard hat via the accessory slot. Simply line up the earmuff adapter with the accessory slot and give it a good push. You should hear a snap or click as the earmuff engages with the hard hat. Face protection is also a common need for workers wearing hard hats. I'll show you one option to meet this need. We'll be using the 3M H24N Universal Headgear. This product fits to the hard hat using a tension spring and aluminum channel. Place the aluminum channel over the hard hat brim and then pull the spring back over the top of the hard hat until it reaches the back edge of the hard hat. Make sure the aluminum channel is centered on the hard hat brim. From there, any 3M face shield can be attached to the H24M Universal Headgear. Remember, all headgear and face shield combinations must be worn with safety spectacles and/or safety goggles, and other appropriate PPE is needed. Thanks for viewing this short video covering some of the basic information about the 3M H700 hard hat.